I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. Mr. Bukovich, can you take attendance?
Yes, ma'am. All right. Chair?
Present.
Vice Chair? Secretary, I'm here. Treasurer is vacant at the moment. Affiliates?
Present.
Campaigns?
Here.
Communications?
Here.
Outreach? Fundraising?
Here. You're super quiet, Andy. Just FYI. I don't know if the owl's picking stuff up or not.
I'll deal with that. Membership? All right, no membership. And legislative?
Here.
All right. Is attendance fully taken then?
Yep, yeah, just missing vice chair and membership. Can I drag this closer? Oh. Yeah, sure.
The vice chair just joined.
All right. Are we ready to proceed, or do we need just a few minutes?
Well, that's Justin or did I mess up the live stream, or are we good to go?
No, just that little internet hiccup, but we're good.
Cool. Yeah, I've unplugged the USB cord trying to pull that a little bit. Can you hear me any better now?
Yeah, actually we can.
Awesome.
Great, thanks. Okay, well, welcome to everyone and all of our visitors. I'm going to open the floor for public comment.
Good evening, ma'am. This is Frank Atwood.
Good evening.
Your liaison to Center-Right Coalition that John Caldera hosts here. And I picked up literature this morning, and it's predominantly a Republican group. Both Blake and I were there. I'm going to comment that the Republicans are feeling discouraged, but hanging in there, and life continues with literature being handed around for people to see, and I'll pass around. I think Blake may have something to say.
I have a quick comment. I was there with Frank, and one of the attendees came up to me to compliment you on the agreement they made with the Republican parties.
Thank you. It's nice to have some positive feedback. Thank you, Mr. Huber.
So that ends my report unless anyone has questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Atwood. Does anyone have questions for him?
Actually, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Vance.
Mr. Atwood, you mentioned earlier that the Republicans are feeling somewhat discouraged. Can you go into detail what's discouraging them? Is it anything that we've done regarding regarding what we're doing? Are they discouraged about Prop HH? I'm just kind of curious what's discouraging the Republicans specifically.
I think, in my mind, what is discouraging the Republicans is more their membership in both the Colorado House of Representatives and Colorado State Senate. And both of them are very, very fragile. What do I want to say? Approaching a supermajority on the part of the Democrats. And no surprise, they are trying to respond.
And if I can add to Frank's comments, this is Blake again.
Yeah.
The impression I had was they're blue because of the blue wave. Is that a good way to say that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're wallowing as per usual.
They appear to be pretty divided, and it's like, and this is my personal opinion, I heard nothing to back this up, but I get the impression that the fight over who's going to be their standard bearer is tearing them apart.
I would agree with that.
Lots of opportunity for the LP.
May I make an announcement for Oliver Chase? Chase Oliver will be next Wednesday here at Independence Institute, a week from Wednesday. Blake has the details before I get myself in deeper trouble.
Okay. Yes, I believe that's for the Liberty on the Rocks, and Mr. Joshua Smith will also be here. They're going to have quite a debate, I guess.
Wednesday, September.
And the debates will be here at Independence Institute, but there'll also be a social at Liberty on the Rocks.
The debate will be here.
It's part of Liberty on the Rocks.
Oh, Liberty on the Rocks being hosted. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. Apologies.
Thank you. Okay, is there any more public comment?
Karen Ann.
Oh, yes, Miss Harlows.
Hey, sorry, I was behind the pole. Linda Templin from RCV Colorado asked me to ask the board if she could have time, perhaps to speak at the next board meeting. There might be a statewide proposition coming up next year for proportional representation, and she'd like to get the LPCO on board. It might be a mass petitioning effort. I don't know the details. I told her I'd present it to the board. So Hannah, if you want me to get, hook you two back together, maybe she could speak online or come to the next board meeting. She asked me to ask you guys. And also, for the Liberty on the Rocks thing, I'm sure it wasn't intended just to promote one candidate. It is a debate between two presidential candidates. I like Chase Oliver, but also Joshua Smith, and I'd hate for it to seem like we were being one-sided here. Thank you.
Yes, definitely. I'll have you connect us, and we'll get her on the agenda next month. That shouldn't be a problem. Anything we can do to get our teeth into as much legislation as we can, I think, is going to make us successful. All right, moving on to the approval of the agenda. You all have had a chance to see the agenda. Are there any additions? Hearing none, the agenda passes as written. We received a copy of the minutes. I made sure to ask everyone, I believe on Friday or Saturday, to have a look at the meeting minutes from last month. Are there any corrections? Okay, seeing none, the minutes from last month have passed. Next, we'll move on to our reports from our county affiliates. Is anyone here from Arapahoe? Alicia, do you have anything to add for Arapahoe?
Nothing further to add right now, Madam Chair.
Okay. Well, you guys are having when is your next meeting? Tomorrow?
I think it might be tomorrow. If you give me one quick sec, I'm going to pull up the calendar. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I just want to make sure we have that announced.
If there's any other affiliate, would you mind checking in with them and then come back to me? Is that okay?
Sure.
Thank you,
Anyone from Denver? All right. Anybody from Douglas who would speak on behalf of Douglas?
Yeah, I'll speak for Douglas Wayne Harlos. We had our monthly meeting last Thursday. We had Taylor Rhodes from Rocky Mountain Gun Owners spoke at our meeting. There's some exciting things going on. There's 2 pieces of litigation that are happening right now with the gun laws that our legislature passed this spring. There's 3 more that they are also going to be filing lawsuits on, but they're waiting to find out the result of at least one of the next 2 that have already been started. So it was a great meeting and some great information was available.
That's very exciting. I'm happy to hear that. You guys in Douglas have been very active, and that's super exciting. I'm going to circle back to Arapahoe. Alicia, when's the next meeting for Arapahoe?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next meeting is going to be Arapa Happy Hour at Max Taps tomorrow at 6 p.m. at the Max Taps in Inglewood. The address is 11405 East Briarwood Avenue, zip code 80112. If anyone is interested, Max Taps tomorrow, the 12th at 6 p.m., 11405 East Briarwood Avenue in Inglewood.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Is anyone here to speak on behalf of El Paso? Or Jefferson County? Do we have any representation from Jefferson County tonight?
Yeah, I can speak toward Jefferson County. So we have our next meeting on September 22nd at the Gallery, the Barrel Room, which is the restaurant attached to the Gallery shooting range. That's definitely our new location. We do have the ability maybe to use some meeting rooms if we have some speakers, which is exciting. We have some good campaigns going in Jefferson. Let's see, 3, 4, I think 3. The school board race is up and running pretty heavily. And so we're just trying to garner as many volunteers as we can to get out there for those campaigns.
Great. And if anyone wants to volunteer, you don't have to be from Jefferson for them to take your help. All right, moving on to Mesa. Do we have anyone from Mesa? We don't have Pueblo, but I did speak with the chairman of Pueblo, and there's nothing going on there that they wanted to announce. Is anyone from Larimer?
I can speak a little bit about Larimer. We've been mainly doing the twice a month Liberty on the Rocks that Brandon Work has been setting up. They seem to have some good turnout. I think the next one is this week, actually. So I'll hopefully be going to that one.
Yes, I thought I saw there was one there this week as well. Now we're moving to reports from our LNC representatives. Oh, I meant to remind Adam, but I didn't, so he's not here. But Ms. Harlos is here. Would you like to speak as Secretary of the LNC, Ms. Harlos?
I totally wasn't paying attention. Everyone's looking at me. I'm like deer in the headlights. We just recently had an at-large vacancy. It was just announced yesterday that Adrian Malagon, the chair of California, was appointed to fill that. We've been just super, super busy. I'm sure Andy could give a lot of updates on that as well. Had I think a very good August meeting in DC. I think it's really turning a corner. I like a term that Andy used that I've been applying to other areas, even to the treasurer's report, where there were some people upset that the treasurer's report was late. But here's something crazy. We have always done all of our accounting in-house, and we're not accountants. We just now outsourced it to an accounting firm, which it just never occurred to me before because I'm not a treasurer, but it's pretty crazy pants. We haven't done that before. And Todd was talking about certain things that he's trying to figure out that we just haven't been necessarily reporting properly or the most expeditious way. So I think the term tech debt that Andy has brought up with strictly in regards to technology also applies to other areas. There is both a benefit and a detriment to only having 2-year L&C terms. With 2-year L&C terms, you've got ambitious goals and only 2 years to do them, so you band-aid the less sexy things. And then those problems get inherited by the next L&C, who does the same thing. It's perfectly human. This isn't a criticism. But finally, the chickens come home to roost. And they came home to roost this term, where one more Band-Aid pretty much broke everything. And I can tell you a lot of the problems that are happening now are things that have been a long time coming, and they were hidden from past L&Cs. Not even necessarily by malice. But past chairs haven't been quite as open with the L&C as Angela's been. They were kind of more of a strong chair model. I didn't know half the crap that was going on that Angela fills me in on. That Nick Sarwark never did, JBH never did, because our bylaws don't require it. The chair is basically a king in the LP. Angela only chooses to run things more collaboratively. So we've been doing a lot of internal building that's not quite as sexy outward facing, but it's going to pay off in L&C terms to come. So I would welcome any questions, and there might be something exciting dropping soon, and that's all I can say. So just keep watching social media, because I'm not quite sure how it's gonna go, but if it goes the way we're hoping it does, it's gonna be really exciting, and you all will have a good time.
Oh, wow, that's excellent. Mr. Luria, I see your hand is raised.
Hi, Ms. Harlos. Just real quick question, and if this is ruining the last comment you made, please feel free to ignore this. Do you have a general sense of when normal convention tickets will be going out? I've seen the email for the presidential table, but I've been asked by some other people when the other tickets are going on sale, so I just figured I'd ask. And if that's what might be announced, please ignore me.
No, that's not what's going, because what I'm saying might be announced is something that's very contingency. It might not happen. Convention tickets are definitely going on sale. That's not a contingency. Unfortunately, Rich Bowen, for health reasons, and I know people try to speculate, it's not health reasons, it was health reasons. We knew we didn't know he was going to resign from the LNC, but we knew he was resigning from the COC and other roles months ago. He prepared us. His doctor told him he had to reduce stress. So for all the gossip out there, but anyway, the reason why I'm even mentioning that is he was our Convention Oversight Committee chair. So we lost him as chair. We have a Convention Oversight Committee meeting tomorrow. I'll probably have an answer to your question tomorrow. I'll email the board once I know. I think they'll be dropping any day. We've got the prices set. It's just a matter, I think, of getting a new Convention Oversight Committee chair, and we think we know who it'll probably be. And former staffer Robert Kraus is now on the COC, and he's an extremely talented convention organizer, so I don't think we're going to miss a beat. It's just a matter of who's going to be the chair.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Harlos. I really appreciate that.
Ms. King, your hand is raised.
No question, just a comment, Ms. Harlos. That sweater or jacket that you're wearing is fabulous, and I love it.
Thank you.
Second that motion.
I like the owl because it will move around the room and we can see well. All right. So next we go to reports of the board. I would like to just say that we have contracts signed for hiring 2 political directors to help us through the election season. So that's been finalized, and that's just an addition. Mr. Gonzalez, do you have anything to add to your board report?
Nothing further to add, Madam Chair.
I just wanted to take time really quick, Mr. Gonzalez, to commend you for your hard work and dedication over the past few months to try and iron out different situations on the board. And you did a phenomenal job and you worked really well under pressure. So thank you for the time you've dedicated to helping the board over the past few months.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, everyone.
Mr. Secretary, do you have anything to add to your board report?
Only that I undersold how excited I am about these contractors that we're bringing on through the election season.
I definitely, yeah, agree. I wanted to just say thank you for your help navigating the political director. Your vision has been really great with that.
Thank you.
Moving on to affiliates.
Nothing additional to add.
I did see on your board report, Mr. Burgesson, that you're going to be doing a quarterly affiliate check-in this month. Do you have a date set for that?
We're still ironing out a few details. There's some partial commitments that we're dealing with, but looking to get something more regularly scheduled beyond tomorrow.
Great, thank you. That's very exciting. I'm so happy to hear that. Campaigns, do you have anything to add to your board report?
Yes, I do. So Sean Short, who's a member of the party out in Greeley, is decided to fill out a petition and run for the Greeley at-large race. So that was after I turned in the report. Haven't had a chance to get that added yet. Sean ran for State House District 50 in 2020 and ran a very competitive race against the Democrat in that race, who ended up winning. So I think Sean definitely has some name recognition and a business behind him. So hopefully that will, push him through that race.
That's super exciting. We have quite a few candidates now that are on local races, so that's going to be really fun for us this November. Mr. Marinovich, do you have anything to add to your board report?
Nothing to add.
All right. Fundraising. Do you have anything to add to your board report?
Nothing really to add, but just a quick note. The Proposition HH materials that the LP made, we are going to hopefully get up on the website this week so that people can go to our website, print them out, and hand them out around their neighborhood if they want to.
Do you need any help with that? Do you have a plan in place?
I will reach out to you about it.
Okay, great. Yeah, happy to help.
Awesome. Also, I spoke with several presidential candidates over the past month, and each one I managed to tell them about your idea for doing a full presidential debate with our convention, possibly. And each candidate just said to make sure that you tell them specifically, like right away when we have our convention date set. And I don't mind doing that also. But they were all very interested and excited by that idea. So I just wanted to let you know, Ms. King.
Excellent. Hopefully we should have convention dates set in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully.
I thought so. Legislative. Anything to add?
No, not this time.
Well, thank you so much for showing up to the Prop HH barbecue. And
yeah, no problem.
The Tabor Coalition meets tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. As the legislative director, I wanted to extend the invitation since the time has been moved. And are you able to commit to that?
6 p.m.?
Yes.
Let me talk with my wife about some stuff, but I'll try to.
Okay, cool. And I don't know if going forward they're going to continually hold them at night. If they do and you're unable to attend, I'll update you.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for letting me know that they've updated everything, so updated the date, because that time was a little bit rough.
Yeah, even for me. Membership, Mr. Lockamy, do you have anything to add to your board report?
Nothing further to add.
One thing I was curious about, I had a question. Well, first of all, thank you for showing up to the Prop HH barbecue and making that a success. One thing I was curious about, I didn't see on your board report, is how is the membership drive going?
I am going to touch base with them this week
to formulate a plan for the next month. And the cutoff date is, remind me, is it October 31st?
Yep.
Okay. Well, yes, I'm going to touch base with them this week to go ahead and, in the next couple of weeks, actually have a plan to go ahead and push on this real hard.
Great, thank you. And also, don't forget, we can always send out emails in the meantime. I appreciate it. Outreach, Ms. Steinke, do you have anything to add to your board report?
Nothing to add.
All right. Well, I want to also extend a thank you to you for attending the Prop HH barbecue. You look like you had so much fun, and you bring such a fun flair to every event you attend. I love it. So thank you so much.
I did have so much fun. It was a really great event.
All right. Moving on to staff reports. Mr. Aiken, do you have anything you would like to update us with?
No, I don't.
Thank you. Mr. Savoy for technology, is there anything you would like to update us with?
Nope, smooth sailing.
All right.
I don't
Moving
believe him. I don't believe him. His voice didn't sound like it's smooth sailing over there, but we can leave him alone.
I know he's not feeling well tonight. I know. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to add to your stress. Committee reports. So our merchandising committee is Mr. Loria. Would you give us any updates?
Yeah, I'm getting with Eli on that. For whatever reason, even though I have the login, it keeps telling me I can't finalize everything because I'm not Alicio Gonzalez, which I just assume means the outreach director. So we're working that out. But I was like, basically all done, and then it was like, great, this is still on hold, you're not Eli. And I was like, how do you know that? How do you know I'm not Eli? I look just like him.
All right, well, hopefully we can get more progress on that by next month. Thank you. Our audit committee, I completely forgot to have my vice chairman remind the audit committee that they should present or could present a report. So we'll work on that next month. That just escaped me as it's a new thing. We don't have any special orders, and we do not have any unfinished business, but we do have new business tonight. So first and foremost, we're going to go into the treasurer appointment. Mr. Bukovich?
So as far as I understand, we are, this is your motion. What are we doing here? I have it on the agenda, sorry. What do you need me to do? Are we having an election?
We need to appoint James Williams to treasurer.
Okay.
So, Mr. Gonzalez, I see your hands raised.
Thank you, Madam Chair. May I make the motion?
Yes, you may.
I motion to appoint Mr. James Williams to the treasurer position of the LPCO.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion to appoint Mr. Williams to treasurer, and it has a second. Is there any discussion?
Well, I have one question, Madam Chair. Are we going to look for a replacement for his position, his current position?
Yes, I've already submitted, not submitted, but I've already emailed out the application. I have had several people already apply. The application is open until October 1st, and we will appoint the next assistant treasurer in October. I also had the chair of Pueblo, Mr. Wiley, reached out and offered to be a part of the treasurer committee. He can't dedicate the time to assistant treasurer, but he would still like to offer his help to the treasurer and assistant treasurer. So informally, that will get squared away after we appoint a treasurer. Does that answer your question, Mr. Lockamy?
Yes, thank you.
Do we have any questions? I believe Mr. Williams is on the line. Do we have any questions for Mr. Williams? All right. Well, is there any objection to appointing Mr. James Williams to the position of treasurer? Hearing none, the motion passes. Mr. Williams is now officially moved from assistant treasurer to treasurer.
Hooray!
Welcome.
Yay.
Our condolences. But hopefully we'll have enough support, and we do have a plan going forward. So I'm confident that we'll be able to make progress. So thank you so much for stepping up.
Happy to help where I can. Hopefully everything will work all together.
Hopefully. All right, now moving to the second order of new business is QuickBooks Online. So over the course of this last month, Mr. Aiken, our database manager, submitted some recommendations to me for our double entry bookkeeping, and he recommended that we get an online account with QuickBooks. And I think that's actually just so much better as far as being able for a lot of people to have access to that, like the audit committee chair, the assistant treasurer, the treasurer, and that way all the information is easily passed from one treasurer to the other. What we were using before was like, I don't know what you call it. I think it's software. It's like a CD for QuickBooks with a spreadsheet. And as far as I know, we've had no bookkeeping done for a while because we've had so many issues with getting that together. So I think overall we're going to be starting over. And so with the different accounts, there's different accounts that we could, or different, platforms of the account that we could choose from. I think the $30 one a month is going to be the best. It allows for 3 logins. So that would be the treasurer, the assistant treasurer, and the audit committee chair. That makes sense to me. And on other months, we may need more. We can always bump up the plan pricing, and it's pretty fluid. So I move, hold on, let me pull up my motion. I actually have it written down. I move to allocate $30 per month for the QuickBooks Online software service. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do we have a motion and a second? I'll open the floor to discussion. Mr. Aiken, I see your hand raised.
Yes, the $30 a month is a starting fee. I think it's good only for the first 3 months. After that, I think it goes to $60 a month. So you might want to take that into consideration.
Okay. Well, Mr. Aiken, your hand, okay. Well, then would it behoove us to move for the $60 a month? And that way we don't have to re-vote on it.
David, where are you seeing that? Because I just got on QuickBooks' website.
Because I didn't see that when I was on it either.
Yeah, for QuickBooks Online, it's $15 a month. It looks like for it to start out, and then it goes up to $30.
No, the $15 a month is the one user thing, I think. Let me see if I can find it.
Because we don't need payroll. Yeah, it doesn't look like a. Well, either way, we can figure out the minutia afterwards. And if we end up needing 30, Hannah, we can adjust over email since we pass this.
Okay.
It's quickbooks.intuit.com/pricing. And the simple start is $15 a month, goes up to $30 after 3 months. The Essentials package, which is a 3-user, starts at $30, goes up to $60 after 3 months. And the 5-user is $45 a month, goes up to $90 after 3 months.
If it matters, Karen Ann would like to be recognized.
Ms. Harlos, you have the floor.
Just an odd question. Why do you need multiple users? I understand you want the audit committee to be able to see it. You want the assistant treasurer to be able to see it. But why can't they just log into one account? I'm just telling you, when the when the LPCO had and we had a bunch of volunteers, they all just logged into one account.
It might have something to do with multi-factor authentication, I think.
We could set up an email group for that, though.
Yeah, and it's just because the way the YouTube is, God, do I sound like a boomer. The National Party YouTube account is tied to my phone. Like, I mean, it's not unusual to have an account that's tied to one phone. When the audit committee is looking at something, it's not like they're doing it behind the treasurer's back. Say, hey, we're gonna need to get into QuickBooks, send us the two-factor authentication. Angela sends me a text when she knows she's gonna be signing into YouTube on an unrecognized device. And she goes, I'm gonna be needing that two-factor authentication. So as long as the treasurer is able to be in quick contact with anyone who needs to get into this, I don't see why we got to pay an extra $30 a month to a big corporation.
Yeah, we could try doing the one user thing initially, see if it becomes an issue, see if we're having problems with it, and then maybe reassess it if we decide it's worth the extra $30 a month later on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, or authenticator, you can have the assistant treasurer and the audit committee have it on their phone if authenticator is one of the 2FA options.
I think so. Mr. Williams, do you have any input on this as the incoming treasurer?
So my personal thought process with all this would be that if we have the 3 separate logins, I think it'd be a better option just for accountability aspect. I believe it shows, correct me if I'm wrong in this respect, but if you have the separate logins, it shows who does what on the, you can do the actual auditing per se to verify the accounts and verify who does what kind of interactions on the software. So that gives us a little bit more of that correction side, or correctability, I guess, for lack of a better way to say it. And then we would also have, if I'm unable to get hold of due to military service or whatever, something along those lines, that redundancy aspect of assistant treasurer can let the board, the committee, and the committee can, if we have the assistant treasurer swap over, it'd make life easier all around, I guess.
I will say, Ms. Goodman, that what Karen Ann is saying is true, but there are a lot of instances where if we leave access to that treasury email or something for some instance, there are a lot of instances where it's nice to be able to have a technology director user or something like that, that you can have on as admin, so that you have at least 2 people you can get in and able to use. So.
Okay. I think I would need to amend my motion to make it 60, or should I just stick with the 30?
Could you amend it to say up to 60?
Yeah. I move to amend my motion that will say up to $60.
We have a hand raised.
I second.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
we had a hand raised here in the building.
Madam Chair, Blake Huber again. The simple solution is to have Authy or Microsoft Authenticator or Google Authenticator with one email address used by multiple people. Another one is like a Google Voice number. There's multiple ways to get around two-factor authentication.
I like the accountability aspect, considering we've had some accountability issues with treasurers. That's, I think, the most important thing we can do right now. Mr. Williams, your hand is raised.
Yes, sir. So that would be my thought process with it. Is the 2FA aspect of it isn't so much the issue in my opinion. It would be more just verifying who is inputting what data. So if we have bad data in, or if we're missing data, that something gets deleted on accident, whatever, we can kind of trace it back. So I think it would really help us in the aspect of just open transparency for more than anything else.
Yeah, that's what I'm liking. Just because we need as much transparency around our finances as possible, because they've been such an issue. And I need them to stop being an issue because we as a party cannot function if our finances are not really square. It's taking years off of my life.
Yeah, and if I can just add to that, while 30 versus 60 is doubling the price, the amount of time and effort and probably money as well that has gone into fixing some or addressing some of our accounting issues, their extra $30 feels really insignificant when you look at that.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Steinke, for that. Yes.
It's a very cheap insurance policy.
Yeah. So we'll have to vote on the amendment to my motion, correct, Mr. Bukovich?
You can still ask if there's any objection.
Is there any objection to amending? Hearing none, that passes. Thank you, Mr. Bukovich, for helping me. All right, so we're back to the motion. We have a motion and a second. Is there any objection?
Would you like me to repeat the motion? Oh, never mind.
Okay. Hearing none, that motion passes. So that's all that we have on our agenda for this evening. Is there any further public comment?
Fine job.
Thank you. Ms. King, I see your hand raised.
I completely spaced thanking all my volunteers that came out for Prop HH. Thank you to all of my volunteers, particularly Reed, who helped with setup and tear down, and Mr. Lockamy, who also helped with setup and tear down. And there were many others. We had many hands, which was really fortunate, but we had a really good event. We talked to a lot of people. So thank you everybody for coming out.
Yes, thank you everyone who came out. That was amazing. You guys are amazing. Mr. Loria, I see your hand raised.
I also wanted to thank Reed. Reed and Mason came out and knocked doors with me this weekend, and Mason is the only reason I got a couple lawn signs up. So I appreciate both of them.
That's amazing. Reed is an untapped resource, I think. Mr. Williams, I see your hand was raised.
I just want to see if there was, I know there's the email chain for that stuff, for especially the Prop HH. Are we pushing out next dates or any other upcoming events? Sorry, I've just been out of the loop with military stuff.
I have the Tabor Coalition meeting tomorrow night. So as far as Prop HH, I don't have any further updates until after that. You're welcome to jump in on that again if you want, or I can update you afterwards. As far as any other upcoming things, I don't think we have any. No. Mr. Bukovich, your hand is raised.
Plan so many things at a time.
Just two things. One, so I deposited some cash into the bank account after the Prop HH fundraiser. Just have to, Mr. Williams, now that you're appointed, figure out, I have the deposit slip, and I have the info on who it came from. So just have to figure out the best way to get that to you. And then additionally, just a reminder to everyone, we already kind of got brought up asking Mr. Lockamy, but delegate allocation deadline is end of October. We are, correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Harlow's number 6.
I'm sorry, I spaced out. No, I'm talking about in national numbers. No, I think we're number 9.
Number 9?
A fresh allocation is coming out this coming up week. Hopefully, it's on my list. But I know also Mr. Malaban found some issues. So I don't think those issues affect Colorado, though, to be honest with you, but it might affect us percentage-wise.
I am digging into his in the near future.
It's because we didn't have dues for a long time, and it's the states that have dues that are coming into these problems, because Indiana is as well. But that might cause our percentage of the pie to drop, because I'm feeling California's numbers are going to go up, and so are Indiana's.
We'll see. We will see. But as it, like, if the last numbers that came out, if no other states got new members, I think we only needed like 40 or 50 national members to crack the top 5. So it's possible.
If you don't mind, another consideration about being at 9, just looking at ranks, not looking at how many numbers to move up, whether or not Colorado gets a national platform seat for 2026 depends upon us being in the top 10 come the end of October. There's another route which we have made, but we kind of have no control over that, and that is percentage of national members versus per capita, because it's the top 5 per capita or the top 10 affiliates. And we, for the past 3 terms, have made it under both criteria, but there's no guarantee we're going to make the capita again. You can't really control that unless you're going to kidnap more Californians and get them to move here, or actually export them back. That's actually the way we could raise it. I'm for that. Let's do it. So the surefire way to make sure we at least retain our platform committee seat too is to make sure we do not drop below 10.
Madam Chair, I've offered this in the past, I'll offer it again. If anyone for any reason can't afford or is unwilling to pay national dues for the reason that Karen has just stated, I will be happy to work with them on paying their dues.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Huber. And we actually have that written down, just so you know, we're not forgetting. Mr. Akin, I see your hand is raised.
Yes, Mr. Williams, if you need help setting up a general ledger, I'm the treasurer for a small HOA, and so I have some experience with that if you'd like to contact me.
Thank you, David. Yeah, I was planning on talking to everybody, try to get through the steps for what I need to do for the handoff, and just kind of see what the next thing's for me. I believe there may be a general ledger already in place. Just trying to update and get everything squared away on my side as soon as possible.
All right. So our next meeting will be October the 9th at the Independence Institute at 7 p.m. And with that, this meeting is adjourned at 7:47 p.m.